Good morning. This is Barry Knapp with Ironsides Macroeconomics at 7:20 Mountain Time on Monday morning, August 4th. We described last week as the Super Bowl of macro investing, and it surely did not disappoint. The data calendar is much lighter this week, although we do have the quarterly refunding auctions, 3s, 10s, and 30s. For our part, we've got a Mornings with Maria Fox business appearance tomorrow morning at 8:20 Eastern, and then we'll be in Aspen for a day speaking at an investor conference. We'll obviously have a note out. Last week we published a couple of notes, including a payroll preview note that by not being a full subscriber, you really missed out on, because we were absolutely convinced after Wednesday's FOMC meeting and the labor market data we'd seen to that point that Chair Powell's framework around the unemployment rate was completely flawed. It had been biased by the BLS not capturing the changes in immigration on a timely basis. They had virtually no change in the employment population in 22 and 23, and then we suddenly in 24, even after the immigration had slowed, they found an extra 2.9 million people. That distorted the unemployment rate, and Chair Powell was getting it completely wrong. We expected to be proven correct about that when we got the annual benchmark revision at the beginning of September, but lo and behold, we were proven right on Friday morning. So our note was titled Flawed Fed Frameworks, and we talked about their blind spot around fiscal policy and how it affects inflation, and that was really on offer last week when we got the GDP report that showed government spending contracting in the first and second quarter after surging during the Biden administration, and in particular in the quarter right before the election, how that's putting downward pressure on real final demand, which had slowed to 1.2%, driven by much slower services spending. So when you're looking for inflation in goods, but services demand is dropping, you got to think like, hey, there's something broader going on here, and the Fed doesn't seem to think that way. We also talked about their target and how it caused capital misallocation, and we just have so many problems with the way the Fed is approaching the labor market and inflation right now. We agree with Kevin Warsh. There needs to be an ideological rethink. They have a lack of diversity of thought. Everyone's a new Keynesian that doesn't consider the supply side of the economy, only focuses on the demand side. Fed's got problems. BLS has three big problems. One is their birth death model is wildly overestimating small business employment, and that is actually hurting the small banking sector, small business sector, and households that live paycheck to paycheck, rely on credit. And this is not just a trivial, hey, orange man bad kind of thing. This is actually the BLS has gotten the population control wrong. They've got the birth death model wrong. And they've been getting the seasonality around students, 16 to 24-year-olds, completely wrong as well. That's what really led to that big surge in employment last September that fired Trump and all the other politicians up. So like BLS really does need to be fixed. And they need some new ideas there, and they need some new ideas at the Fed. In the meantime, we've been opened up to a real growth scare risk right now. And so we do think the Fed could wind up repeating what they did last year, where they are so far behind by the time they get to the September meeting, and we will get another payroll report and the first estimate of the annual benchmark revision that looks likely to be very weak. They could wind up having to cut 50 or cutting 50 in September, another 25, meeting our 100 basis point of rate cut target this year in a virtual repeat of the year before. And this year, this really will help small businesses, small banks, because the curve will steepen out. It'll tighten the spread between mortgages to treasuries, one of the things we write about. And be a subscriber, you can get full details on all this stuff. It'll help small bank profitability. It'll reopen that credit channel. And it would be a powerful incentive this year. So we do think that absolutely needs to happen. We did write in the note, we're not worried about the supply of treasuries for the foreseeable future. Treasury Secretary Bessent is a much steadier hand at the debt management wheel, if you will. Treasury Secretary Yellen was reckless in her use of the Treasury General Account. She turbocharged easing in 21 by stopping issuance. Then she ramped issuance up in 2022 when the Fed was tightening and turbocharged the tightening, leading to that 27% correction in the equity market. Besant's not going to make those mistakes. So we're not really worried about it. Treasury market's broken out to lower yields. We think 10s could go to 4%. The only question is, can we get through this next month without a correction in cyclical stocks and the equity market? And the answer is we probably will have a pullback. 6 to 8% sounds about right to us. So anyway, Barry Knapp from Ironsides. Please consider becoming a paid subscriber. We're not RIAs. This is what we're doing for a living right now. It's a lot of fun, and we'd love you to come on board. Have a good week.